Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Ross here, and I want to welcome you to a video where we're going to be talking about the Katarina changes on the PvE. This is not going to be live gameplay, and it's not going to be particularly scripted, but I want to talk about Katarina and the changes that she's gone through. If you haven't checked out on the PB, or you don't have a PvE account, there's plenty of footage of her in action here, and it's quite interesting. Now, I was going to do a video on Katarina a little while ago when her changes were initially announced, because some of the wording that Riot used in regards to her changes made me have a couple of questions. They said that they wanted to make it more obvious for her to know where she is in teamfights. They wanted to make it easier for the enemy to know where she's gonna be. They wanted to make it easier to know when she's gonna shimpo. Basically, make it easier for her to track. Now, I was a bit skeptical about this, primarily because Katarina is a very feast or famine character, where I feel like the only advantage she really has is the fact that she dives around a lot, and if she gets stunned once, it's pretty much game over. So it was very interesting to me. I didn't really know quite what they were going to do. I thought they maybe would add charges onto Shimpo. I thought they maybe would add a travel time onto Shimpo to make it a dash instead of a blink. But then with that, you could say that if they made it a dash instead of a blink and gave it charges, then Poppy would be like an instant pick against Katarina, Azir would be an instant pick against Katarina, and it would just cause a whole mess of problems. So the way that they've handled this is a little, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I will admit that the new Katarina makes being stunned not as big a deal as I feel it would have been. Okay, so I'll go through the spells. We'll go through her changes, and we will talk about everything that's going on. So her passive remains the same. Her passive is obviously every time that she does damage. If an enemy dies within 3 seconds of her damaging it, she gets 15 seconds off her cooldowns, which basically means all of her regular spells get refreshed, and her ultimate is like 1/4 refreshed as well. This has remained completely unchanged. There's only really 2 spells that have changed in Katarina's kit, and that is her Q and her W. So her Q, Bouncing Blade, also fundamentally remains the same. You throw out the Q, it bounces around, but instead of it bouncing around and then doing nothing, instead the Q lands on the ground, similar to a Draven axe or something. What you can do there is a variety of options. You can pick this up, and instead of you getting refreshed cooldowns or whatever on your Q for picking it up, you do Katarina's old W, which is where she spins around and does 200 damage in a circle. She does a bunch of damage in a circle, and this can happen regardless, with as many daggers as you can keep going. So I have had me having 3 daggers get grabbed in a short space of time, and I've span around 3 times, and it's done a shitload of damage in a circle. With this as well, you can, if you are in the area with the dagger, if you're stunned, regardless of what you're doing, if you're using your ultimate, or if you're stunned, you still spin around. So CC is not exactly the biggest deal in the world if you get caught with it, as long as you're in the right place. Along with this, Katarina can shimpo to these little Qs, and to me it seems like another kind of mini game, which Riot obviously love to throw at people. But yeah, you can E to your dagger. Picking up a dagger refreshes your shimpo by 90% as well, and so it's not instantaneous. It's still got a couple second cooldown. I think the cooldown of shimpo has been increased as well alongside that, to accommodate for the fact that you will probably get a lot of cooldown reduction off of your Q. But yeah, so you get 90% cooldown off that if you pick up a Q. If you shimpo to a Q, you also instantaneously spin, so it makes for quite a lot of damage, although it lands behind the last target that it bounces to. So if you hit one champion, it will bounce beyond them and it will land behind them. So you're gonna have to either shimpo to them and then move, or you're gonna have to shimpo to the dagger to actually do a decent amount of damage. So this is where the whole being able to tell where Katarina is in teamfights. They've made it so that you can basically tell now where Katarina's going to be in a fight if you just look at the daggers, and I'm a little bit funny about that one. Obviously, it's a similar problem that maybe Draven's face, where they instinctively move towards their axes, and you can somewhat predict where they're going to be based on the axes, the axe marks in the ground. probably going to be a similar thing if you're against like a brand or something. He sees a dagger on the ground, he's going to drop a pillar of flame and then Q onto it, and you know, Katarina is probably going to get like a bit punished if she, you know, instinctively goes for something that she thinks is going to be rewarding. So it may take a little bit of time for people to get used to that and like work around it, but we'll see what happens, I guess. Her W has been completely reworked, and instead of her using her spin attack, which is now inbuilt into her Q and just her passive with the daggers in general, it is now a spell that allows you to throw a dagger up into the air. You throw a dagger into the air, and you get a 50% decaying movement speed boost that will, like, it will decay after a second or two, and then a dagger lands on the ground, and that is a second dagger that you can either shimpo to, or you can do whatever you want with. You can use it to spin around. So some of the combos that I've been doing is I'll Q onto a champion, it will bounce behind them, I will then shimpo into that champion, press W afterwards, throw the dagger up in the air, start ulting, and then the dagger will, I'll get the spin whilst I'm ulting, and then the dagger will land on top of me whilst I'm spinning and do another one. Another one that I've used, a combo that's kind of fun to juke with. For instance, I'm playing against bots in this game because blind pick was down, but we were playing against the Kog'Maw, and I thought it was a really neat interaction where I'll try and put it on screen if at all possible around here. I was playing against Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw died, I killed Kog'Maw, but I was pretty low HP, so what I did was I threw my W up into the air, I moved away from the dagger, waited for Kog'Maw to get near me, and then shimpoed back to my dagger, and then dodged the Kog'Maw explosion, which possibly could have killed me. So it's a neat little thing. Now, you can shimpo to your daggers, but you cannot ward jump anymore. You cannot shimpo into wards, so Katarina is going to have maybe a little bit more danger in lane when it comes to ganks, because obviously you can just drop a ward, shimpo to it, but you cannot just like, you can't, with your W, you don't control where the W goes, and it tends to just go straight up into the air. So unless you do what I just said with the Kog'Maw, you know, try and juke the jungler, so if it's a Hecarim, wait for him to start charging, and then shimpo when he tries to like E and get the charge off. That seems to be the only real potential there is for mobility. There's been a little bit of a bullet to the knee in terms of actual mobility for Katarina. She can still jump around, and her cooldown and her shimpo is low, but the options are also a lot less, and unless you want to go in, obviously your Q, you have to use it on enemies, so you have to decide whether or not you want to go in or, you know, try and work around your W. That's pretty much it. As well as that, you know, you've also got her ulti, her Lotus, something Deadly Lotus, I believe. It's pretty much exactly the same. There's not really a whole lot that's been changed to it, in all honesty. An interesting thing that has happened to our shimpo, though, is that it no longer automatically places you behind a target, which it used to do. Instead, it will position you relative to your mouse on the enemy. So let's say like there is like a kind of a circle around the champion that you obviously that targets it. So if you move your mouse to the far side of that target, it will put you behind it. If you move it closer to yourself, it will put you on top. It will put you closer to yourself, and it gives you a little bit more leeway with the positioning, probably. But it's not a huge change. It's not necessarily a quality of life thing, but it can make her potentially a little slightly bit more difficult to deal with. And because obviously with the old Katarina, if you were playing like Vel'Koz or something, you just run up to Katarina, and then you drop a W, you drop your knock up behind yourself, because you know that Katarina's gonna fucking jump on you. You knock her up easily, then you Q, you fucking E, and ult, and that's a dead Katarina. She can't do anything, purely because, you know, it was a really predictable move that could easily be like countered, or you could easily do it. And obviously, she has got the option now, but also the Qs leave her in the same position with her daggers. You can pretty much tell where she's gonna be at any given moment, so we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, there's I definitely would encourage you to give her a shot. She is on the PvE right now, and I played a game with her. I mean, I was playing against bots, so it was hard to gauge, but there is a lot more combo potential with her. There's a lot more things you can do when you're stunned. I got kills when I was stunned completely, purely because I was doing the combo I mentioned earlier, throw up daggers and juggle daggers whilst I was like about to go in. So I would be stunned and be standing there like, but the dagger would land on me, and I'd do like 200, 300 damage with my W. The W is so much stronger than Sinister Blade used to be. Her W used to not do a tremendous amount of damage, and like you still max it, but it wasn't like crazy special. But the damage off when you get off your daggers is pretty sick. It's definitely gonna make comboing a lot more interesting, as well as that wave clearing is gonna be so much fucking easier. Like I like with their Sinister Blade, I mean you Q, you W. I still didn't feel like it was like your W didn't really have any weight to it. Like I felt like your W, despite the fact you may be full AP or whatever, like I really felt like her Sinister Blade didn't really have the kick it really felt like it needed. But with this, you W onto your minions, I whip my minion wave, it bounces around, all the minions gather around you, you throw up a dagger, spin, you have cleared an entire minion wave, and that you can do that from a really low level. So farming is going to be a lot better, I feel, for her. As well as that, you know, I'm honestly, I need to see it in action against real players. I didn't get a chance to play against it. But, and it's also really hard because I'm playing on the PvE and it's got 200 ping, but I really like the fact that the daggers do stuff when you're stunned. That's gonna make her a little bit easier to play if she's behind. But on the flip side, it's also gonna make her easier to target when she's ahead. So interesting stuff that Riot's actually done. I'm honest to God, like I'm actually not hating the rework, because I was skeptical at first and I was kind of like, well, Riot, you fucked it again. This is gonna be a bad rework. But I'm actually really happy with her so far. I'm really looking forward to playing her on the live servers, which should be around December time. But if you do have a PvE account, I would seriously recommend getting on and trying to play her, or apply for a PvE account and give her a shot, because she is, if nothing else, very interesting to play. But yeah, guys, this is gonna be kind of like late night video, depending on what time zone you're in. Wanted to get a video out on Katarina, because I had an entire video planned around Katarina to talk about her potential rework and my ideas around her, and then I get surprised this morning, I get surprised this afternoon or whatever, by finding out that we're getting it early. We're getting to find out what she does. So cool. Yeah, I want to do a video on LeBlanc and Talon and just some of the stuff that's happening, as well as that the other champions that are not quite as big, that aren't like getting massive reworks but are getting small reworks, talk about them, and also the new items that are coming out as well. There is some very interesting ones, and I really think supports are going to have a good season this season. Season 7 supports are, they are going to have fun. If you haven't seen the new items, shit, dude, you're going to have it. Regardless, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, this PvE video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. You got to see firsthand. And I'm trying to, you know, I'm becoming an alternative to Brofresco and Red Mercy. They've got the stranglehold on the PvE information. So hopefully, there's some people that aren't quite, that won't watch those two and they'll watch me instead. That's the plan. Gotta diversify. You know what I'm saying? Diversify your bonds. Regardless, guys, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, join the sock drawer. If you have made it this far into the video, I'd really appreciate a like on this video, because I don't usually do PvE content, but Katarina was a champion that has been on my radar for quite a few weeks in terms of making a video about her, so it just seemed right to do one now. But regardless, guys, thank you again for watching. See you tomorrow. Take it easy.